Welcome to all. This is the second in a series of conversation with David Lereah, and we're again together today to continue speaking about the power of positive aging. Welcome, David.
Oh, thank you. This will be hopefully a good time.
It will be great if it continues as last time. So as you mentioned in our previous conversation, keeping one's spirit up is the first stepping stone in the practice of positive aging. So before we delved into the details, maybe for the people who were not with us last time, you can explain what is positive aging.
Yeah, I think it does make sense to give a definition again of how we practice positive aging and what it is. Positive aging is basically adopting a positive mindset of aging as a natural way of life. It's got to come natural to you, rather than view aging in a negative light as something to be endured. Aging is viewed as a positive journey. So that's how we practice positive aging. We want it to become natural to people. You see a lot of ads for anti-aging. You see all these skin creams, these wrinkles, let's get rid of your wrinkles, and everything is anti-aging. And my view is, rather than have a negative word, anti, let's have a positive word, positive. Because if you're anti-aging, then you're going to be disappointed eventually because we all age. So I think positive aging is a better frame of reference for everyone that's aging, because that will put you in a better frame of mind. So that's positive aging. It really covers our ability to maintain a positive mindset, stay in that present moment, feel confident about ourselves, keep fit and healthy, and most importantly, engage fully in life. I mentioned last time there's 6 building blocks to positive aging. Tapping into your spirit is that first building block. The others are mindfulness, positivity, what I call the 4 A's, which is accept, adapt, appreciate, and have attitude. And then social support, and then finally balancing, life balance. Balance your life. Make sure that you're not out of balance as you age. So today I think we'll talk about the spirit.
Well, the obvious question is, what do you mean by spirit? And is it the same thing as the soul? How does it help practice positive aging?
And that's really the million-dollar question right now. If we imagine the practice of positive aging as an orchestra playing beautiful music, our spirit is the conductor. So it's really our spirit is in charge of how we're going to age. There's a story that I like to tell about a panhandler, someone that was down on his luck for years, had no money. So he would panhandle on a street corner, and he would sit on this trunk, an old storage trunk, begging for money. One day, this businessman wearing a dapper suit came by and looked at him and gave him some money. But then he said, have you ever looked inside your trunk that you're sitting on? And the beggar said, no, it's locked. So the man in the suit found a rock and started hitting the lock until it broke. And the beggar opened up the trunk and he found a treasure of gold inside. And the beggar just didn't know how wealthy he was until he looked inside. There's something extraordinary inside all of us, and that's the moral of the story there. If we look inside, we'll find something extraordinary. Most of us call it a spirit or a soul. A healthy spirit is critical. It's a critical ingredient to successful aging. As you experience physical and mental decline with aging, focus on strengthening your spirit. Your spirit is not affected by aging. Your physical body is, but the spirit, if you believe in a spirit, it's not affected. So if you follow your spirit, the marks of aging become inconveniences rather than burdens. If you have some mobility loss, using a walker or even a wheelchair becomes an inconvenience if you're strengthening your spirit. But if you let your ego get in the way, you are ashamed of using a walker. It's very difficult for you to make that adjustment. So embrace your spirit and you'll perceive aging with a stronger lens with greater clarity. You'll be more confident. You'll no longer be embarrassed or ashamed of marks of aging. As I said, using a walker or even a hearing aid.
And there's some elements in life where the scientific experiment is difficult to make, even impossible. And the spirit or the soul is one of those things that cannot be scientifically tested. So it's interesting to start maybe with the opinion that science has about the spirit and soul, and maybe continue afterwards about what a personal opinion could be.
Well, in my research, there's no scientific evidence, as you said, about a spirit or a soul. There's little consensus among scientists, religious scholars, and philosophers about the spirit and even the mind. What I could find now, you can go into, there's different studies about the afterlife, past regression analysis. I know, even though the University of Virginia has a department where they look at life regressions, past lives, and they've studied people under hypnosis. Again, is that an illusion or is that something that's real? We just don't know because there is no scientific proof. What I can find in the psychiatric field is something called computational theory. And that claims that the mind is separate from your physical existence. And the example that's used is a book, the analogy of a book. A book is physical. You've got paper, you've got ink, you've got binding. And that's roughly akin to the brain in our physical body. However, the information in that book, the story that it's telling, is akin to the mind. So that you can separate the mind from the brain if you use that analogy of a book. Whether that's true or not, we still don't know, but that's what a lot of people are leaning on in terms of the science. The spirit or the soul, I make no differentiation between the two. That's up to religion, what they want to believe. Everybody has different faiths. The soul and the spirit to me is the same thing, at least for our purposes of trying to age in a peaceful way by tapping into your spirit. You can call it tapping into your soul or tapping into your spirit. Makes no difference as long as we're tapping into something that's more than just our physical presence.
And do you think people are more spiritual today than they used to be? Do you think there's more people who have spirituality?
I think the good news, at least from my perspective, is that there's an overwhelming majority of people that believe in that they have a spirit or a soul. And that's in all religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, take your pick in the spiritual marketplace. It's there. The common thread with religions is that most people believe they're more than their physical body, and that's the spirit. As long as people believe that, that's all you really need, because a lot of this is psychological. Uh, in terms of the trend, spiritual awareness is on the rise in America. Facebook has done some surveys over the years, where they ask you, uh, "Are you religious?" Uh, 15 years ago, the answer is yes, I'm religious, traditional religion. Now the answer is more of I'm spiritual. I'm not traditional religion. I don't attend church. I feel more spiritual. I believe that there's an afterlife. Uh, Fewer Americans right now believe in God or pray regularly, yet more people believe in an afterlife. There's a San Diego State study. They interviewed 58,000 people, and 80% of Americans said they believe in an afterlife. But yet, a lot of them, the majority of them, did not regularly attend church. So we do have this trend of people becoming more spiritual in their lives. Uh, we don't need to make any claims about which beliefs are true or false about a spirit and about an afterlife. It doesn't really matter in the context of practicing positive aging. They're all possibilities until truth is uncovered. Um, so it doesn't matter which religion you subscribe to, or if you're an agnostic or an atheist. It doesn't really matter. What does matter is, do you believe that you're more than your physical body? If you do, and even if it's just your mind being more than your brain, if you believe that, then you can practice positive aging in an effective way, because you can spend your time strengthening that spirit while your physical body declines.
So, what are the ways one can use to tap into our spirit?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to tap into spirit. We all do it without knowing it. Um, but I think we start with, seek moments that allow your spirit to reveal itself. Engage in activities that make it easy and fun to tap your spirit. Just as we exercise our physical body, your brain, your mind needs to be exercised so that you can tap into your spirit. So when you look at our five senses physically, your touch, your smell, um, your sight, your hearing. But in a spirit, we're looking at more of your intuition, your mental capacity. So the first thing that I tell people before you even try to tap into your spirit, you need to tame your ego. An untamed ego is our greatest enemy. It responds negatively to physical decline and appearance. Hold a picture of your younger self to a mirror. Take your college or your high school, probably your high school yearbook picture, hold it up to the mirror, and then compare it to what you look like now. Now, Nico, I'm not talking about you. You're a young man. But if you're a senior citizen and you've got wrinkles and age spots, and you're comparing yourself, your ego is going to long to be young again, sad. It may be even angry about what you look like now compared to what you used to look like. You need to take note now of your wrinkles. Focus on those wrinkles, those age spots, hair loss, the graying of the hair, and just say no to your ego. Yell it out if you have to. No, I'm not going to take it anymore with this ego. I'm not going to feel bad about aging. View your physical marks of aging as a badge of honor. feel a sense of pride in reaching this point in your life. So that would be the first thing that we all need to do when we age. We need to somehow tame our egos. It's our egos that get us in trouble. It's our egos that tell us, oh, I don't want to wear a hearing aid. I'd rather not hear everything because I'm embarrassed to wear a hearing aid. That's your ego talking. That's not you. That's your ego. So if we can tame it, we can get hold of that, and then aging becomes a more pleasant journey. And the reason for all this is that inevitably we all age. There's no getting around it. The only way to get around it is to be 6 feet under. So we need to understand that we've got to tame the ego before we do anything else. Now, different ways to tap your spirit. The first is seek peaceful moments, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. Put yourself in a place where you can just be alone, away from distractions. Find peace of mind. I take long walks. I try to walk 10,000, 15,000 steps a day. That's exercise, but it's also putting me in a peaceful state of mind. And that we're not talking about meditation. We're just talking about just being at peace with yourself in a relaxed state with clear thought. Without knowing it, you're actually tapping into your spirit. So that would be the first way to tap into spirit. The second would be meditation or yoga. We'll get more into that when we get into our third building block of positive aging, which is mindfulness. But for now, meditation and yoga are extremely popular. The trend is way up. The whole baby boomer generation is now very much doing yoga and meditation. And of course, the younger generations, yoga has become very, very popular. It promotes relaxation. It builds internal energy and improves overall sense of well-being. Meditation classes are very popular. And as I said, it's part of mindfulness, which we'll get more into later. Yoga prepares your body for meditation through stretching and building strength. It unites the body, the mind, and the spirit. So those are good ways of tapping into your spirit. Another way, and this may sound a little off base, is connect with crystals. Now, you may say crystals. That's a little far-fetched. It's believing in the supernatural. But is it any more believing in supernatural than believing in all the biblical stories? If you are religious, you're believing in the supernatural. With crystals, there's a small but growing segment of people who utilize crystals as an aid to awaken their spirits. So for believers, humans emit energy into the universe, and crystals absorb that energy vibrations emitted in their surroundings. And then they send them back into the world again. So people connect with crystals and feed off their emission of positive energy, and that lifts their vibrations and moves them into a spiritual state. Now, that's for a small segment of the population. Crystals are becoming popular. You see it on the internet. You go to different internet business sites that are selling products. People are buying crystals. You can put a crystal on your shelf. You can have a bracelet that's crystal, whatever it is. Now, the question of whether the power of crystals is real is up to each one of us. For purposes of tapping our spirit, believers should use crystals as an aid. For non-believers, there still may be a positive psychological effect of using crystal, thinking that maybe that crystal has power to tap into your spirit. A lot of it is psychological, sort of like the law of attraction, if you remember the book, The Secret. It may be hard for some people to believe, but psychologically, you like to think that if you are positive about something, that positive energy comes back to you. And that's how crystals work as well. So we do find that people that want to tap into their spirit, a good number of them are using crystals. Um, what type of crystals? If you're going to do this, I would recommend quartz, selenite, shungite, amethyst, and citrine. Those would be the most popular crystals that some people believe have this vibration energy power that will help you connect with your spirit. Another way to tap your spirit is prayer. For people that are religious and pray every day, they're tapping into their spirit, whether they know it or not. They may think they're communicating with God, but they're also communicating with their own spirit. It's a profound way to tap into your spirit. For many elderly seniors, prayer is a very effective form of coping. And what I found with my nonprofit, United We Age, we visit a lot of senior citizens, residents in long-term care facilities. These are people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s that are having a lot of difficulty with physical decline. And I would say the majority of them, when I ask them, how are you coping with what's happening to you? The majority of them say, oh, it's easy for me. I believe. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ is my Savior. Whatever it is, it's their belief in that supernatural that gets them through the day. So prayer is a very effective way to tap into your spirit. But again, it's whether or not you believe, and that's up to the individual. And the last way that we tap into our spirit is to stimulate your mind. And we all do this without knowing it every day. But here are some good ways of doing it to stimulate your mind. Your mind is the gateway to your spirit. So conditioning and stimulating are essential for achieving your spiritual journey. So drawing, painting, we see this a lot in senior centers. They have painting classes. They have arts and crafts classes. There's a reason for that. It's not just to keep them busy. It's stimulating the right side of their brain, which inspires creativity, and that touches their spirit. Music, again, it's not a coincidence that in these senior living communities, in these facilities, there's a lot of music. They have music time, and it puts people into a trance. I've seen it with these senior residents where they're sitting in their chairs and they're listening to some music, and it could be Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett music, or it could be the Beatles, whatever it is. They go into a trance. Their mind starts to wander, and they're really just in a meditative state. And again, it's hitting the right side of the brain. Music does, just like paint and art, and that is touching their spirit. Writing is another way that you can touch your spirit. Writing strengthens your brain's natural ability to convey thoughts and feelings. For older adults, I find writing a bio legacy, their life story, is a very effective way not only to tap into their spirit, but to improve their self-worth, because they're writing about what they were. They're writing about their life. You look at people and you say, don't judge a book by its cover. And I always say, don't judge a person by their wrinkles, a senior by their wrinkles. There's much more there deep inside. Not only do they have that spirit, Well, they were young at one time. And if they write about their youth, it's tapping into something um, that's a wonderful experience for them. Last but not, no, there's two more, I guess. Mind games is another way to tap your spirit. Um, we play mind games all the time: checkers, chess, crossword puzzles, Sudoku, card games. These are all mentally stimulating games that engage both the right and the left sides of the brain. Um, Find brain teasers uh, to help stimulate your mind. Again, we're connecting the mind with the spirit because the mind is not connected to the brain like a story is not connected to the physical book. If you take that approach, um, playing games will tap into your spirit. And last but not least, reading. Reading is an exercise of the mind. So if the more you read, the more you're really tapping into and strengthening not just your mind, but your spirit. So I'll leave you with some final thoughts. There's a magic wand for dealing with aging. It's called our spirit. I truly believe this. That's why it's my first building block for practicing positive aging. As I mentioned earlier, if practicing positive aging is an orchestra, of playing beautiful music, that spirit is the conductor. Embrace your spirit, and it opens up a whole new world filled with wonderful possibilities. Your spirit is the power of me. We have the power to grow old gracefully. We have to keep that positive mindset. We have to do all 6 of these building blocks of positive aging. The most important one for me is to strengthen your spirit. Tap into it, and you're on your way to a good, graceful journey into your twilight years.
Well, definitely, we have 6 different steps, and that's already a huge first step. We have lots of work to do. Thank you very much. And in the next conversation, we're going to continue with speaking about mindfulness and the benefits of being in the present moment.
Thank you so much.